Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Sippin and Trippin Podcast, where we connect with amazing people. Today's topic is, if you had the ability to go back in time and change one thing in your life, what would it be? I am your host, Desmond Black, and the person that's sipping and tripping with me today is a drama-free, hard-working, certified home health aide working at Titusville Academy. My guest is a person with a strong passion for baking and a good friend of mine. She is none other than Miss Ayanna Kearny. How you doing today?
I'm good. How about you?
Living life best way I can. So it's been a long time since we last spoke. So
Yeah, it's been a couple of years.
It's crazy, but you know the positive is, no matter if we speak all the time, some of the time, we always find our way back at each other. So that's
Absolutely.
a good friendship. So what's new with you?
Nothing. I mean, since the last time I talked to you, I'm actually in a relationship now with my shorty.
Yeah.
But
How long that been?
a little over a year, and we're doing good. We're doing okay.
That's
Doing
what's
what we
up.
got to do.
That's what's up. So how long you been into girls?
I think probably in maybe like my early teens, I was
Oh, curious.
bi-curious.
Okay.
I was bi-curious, but then I guess like once I went to Job Corps, that's when I like actually realized like, yeah, I'm interested in girls. But I didn't start dating. Like my first girlfriend was like in like 2019
Oh, interesting.
because I didn't know how my mom and them would feel about it. But once I came out, I literally came out to my whole family and
All at one time?
all at one time. They didn't give a fuck.
Oh, they didn't. All right.
They didn't care. My mom was like, I already knew that. My dad was like, oh, I already knew. Yeah, my whole family was like, I already knew that. I already knew you was into girls.
I would have never thought, because
I would have never thought either.
We used to hang out. We used to talk all the time. I just never knew. I mean, I knew he was a tomboy, but that's it.
I always kept it in because I wasn't sure myself. Like, I wasn't sure at all. But until then, like, that's when I finally like, yeah, I actually do. Because it's like, I don't know. It was weird the way I finally like realized. But when it came full blown is when like one of my friends like literally came after me when we went out to a club. And went from kissing, and then it led to one thing to another. So like, okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, so, it was very interesting.
So let me ask you this. When you was dating guys, was that a cover, or are you into both?
No, it wasn't a cover. No, not at all. No cover. I was still interested in guys.
Okay.
But as of right now, I'm a lesbian. But no, that was never a cover. I was still interested in guys.
Okay.
I was still interested in them. So
interesting. Hey, like I said, it's been a long time. It's a little echo. I don't know. You got headphones or something?
I can put some on.
No, I was just saying because I heard the echo. I don't know if that's because you got the volume up or.
Yeah, no, I don't have headphones on, and I got everything shut off. So
I heard. All right. Well, interesting. Like I said, it's been a long time. I think the last time I saw you was like, I don't know, was like 2000. It might have been like 2018 or something like that.
Probably, but since then, me and my family we went through a lot. We've been through a lot. I lost my grandmother in 2021, and I lost her 2021 to COVID. Just completely destroyed her lungs.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
And I lost my grandfather in February of 2024.
Oh, so recently.
Yeah, recently. So, I don't know. I feel like my grandfather, like, he was just holding on for as long as he could. But him and my grandmother, they were like best friends. Like, when I mean by best friends, I mean to the point, like, my grandparents only dated for like 3 months. My grandmother put her foot down and was like, I'm not moving in with you unless we are married. Next thing I know, my mom and my grandfather put a ring on it after the 3 months of them being together. That's deep. They was married over 55 years before my grandmother died.
Now, were they friends before they got married?
I honestly don't know the full story. All I know is that my grandfather was at a bar And my grandmother, I guess, was like chilling outside of it. And my grandfather like came out and just like pretty much just like pulled the moves on my grandmother. And then next thing I know, they're together.
Hey,
and then after the 3 months of them being together, my grandfather put a ring on it because my grandmother, she wasn't that type of woman to just be shacking up with people.
Oh, okay. So it was a religious thing?
I think so. I think my grandmother was way more religious before she even met my grandfather, even though most of my grandparents were straight up 100% Christians, like to the point where my grandmother would mute the TV because she didn't want to hear, in her words, sexual music. So, you know.
That's
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So look, all right. So we get right to the topic real quick. So if you had the ability to go back in time to change one thing in your life, what would it be?
Honestly, there's two things that I would do.
Okay.
My first one is my basketball career, because high school, obviously, you already knew how I played in high school. You knew I played a little bit of college.
Oh, that I didn't know. That's new to me.
I did.
I didn't
know. I played OCC a little bit, but I left OCC after a while. But the thing is that during high school, my coach, like there was an AAU coach, scouting. It was South versus North. They were scouting at North, and the guy saw me and gave me his business card, and I told my mom about it. Then I went to my coach and I told her about it, and she literally talked me out of not going to the AAU camp. So like she like basically, I feel like if she didn't talk me out of it, I think that I would still be in that career.
Right. Meaning basketball.
Yeah, I would still be in basketball if she didn't talk me out of not going to AAU. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then my second regret is not pushing forward for my baking, because baking was my passion. Okay. Basketball is my love, but baking is my passion.
Okay.
So I love baking.
How long have you had that passion for baking?
Since I was a little girl, because of my grandparent, because of my mother and my grandmother. I will always watch my grandmother like make her sweet potato pies, or my grandfather make his pumpkin pies, or my mom just like making, like, of course, like every Black mom, box cake or whatever. But with me watching them and as they went on baking and stuff like that, I I watched it, and it was just like real interesting in me. So as I grew up, I started continuing that myself.
Right.
And then I started teaching myself. Like I would go on YouTube, learn how to make fondant, learn how to make my own buttercream, learn how to decorate my own cakes. Like I even have a Instagram. I even have an Instagram that's it's cake _ by _ Yanni.
I'm gonna have to tap into that, because I didn't know that you had that. So that's interesting.
So I only got a few pictures that I did a few years ago. Like I made some stuff for my family and friends and stuff like that. But I really like never pushed for it.
Right.
But then I say maybe like last year or so, I went back into it. I went to school for it. I went to Escoffier. But the problem was that I think I only had like 2 classes left. But the problem was I couldn't afford it, because it's pretty much like if you're doing online classes, because the classes were all the way in like Texas and stuff. I'm not about to go all the way to Texas to do some classes. Like I'm not about to do that. I got a lot of stuff going on here. I'm not doing that. So I was doing online classes, but the problem is that online classes is like paying for a tuition. You're spending the amount of money to buy the ingredients that you need for the class, and then it's pretty much like you're paying the same amount with tuition. So you're spending all this bread for the class. So the problem was that I just couldn't keep up with what I needed. So I had to step back. So and then maybe in the future I'll push forward to do what I need to do, because my dream always has been a pastry chef. I've always wanted to be a pastry chef.
Right. So. Interesting. So, like if that's a passion, you should definitely keep with it, in your spare time. Just keep teaching yourself, and, and just never let that die. And it's funny you say you have a passion for baking, right? Because I love cooking. I've been in the restaurant industry for this is the 18th year. I bought a a FedEx truck that I'm gonna convert to a food truck, right? So cooking is a passion of mine, and I got a bump. I had a little hiccup where the truck stopped running, but I'm gonna have somebody come check it out and look at it. I don't know how much it's gonna cost, but I'll cross that bridge when I cross it.
Well, I mean, if you need any help too, like I got my dad's whole side of the family. They all mechanics from my pop. I ain't know the man, but the way my dad talked about him and everything, and how he teach literally all the men and women how to fix cars and everything. I mean, you can let me know. I'll see. I can get my cousin to do it or my dad to do it.
All right. Well, it's it's a FedEx truck. It's not a regular car. So
my dad, they can fix anything. I'm trying to tell you now. My pappy didn't play no games with them.
That's what's up. I'll definitely link up with you after the podcast. But so like I said, it stopped running, but I'm going to get it fixed. I'm not going to stop like pursuing my dream and try to pursue this food truck business. So yeah, it's sitting in my yard every time I come home or I leave to go to work. I look at it. I'm like, dang, I gotta keep pushing. You know what I'm saying? So I've been going to a lot of food truck events, little food truck festivals, right? And they're very interesting. Some of the food trucks, I'm like, it's amazing. The food is good, and I have that knowledge because I've been a kitchen manager for like 3.5 years. So I have that knowledge of both sides of cooking the food, as a line cook and the business side as a manager. So I have no doubt in my mind that I'm gonna be successful. So it's funny that you said baking because that's something we got in common right there.
Yeah.
So let me see. How do you weigh which one thing that you would choose in life over all other things you could possibly choose in life to change?
Out of those two that I picked?
Well, I'm saying because those are two you picked. So I'm like, how do you weigh which one thing that you would change?
My thing is that basketball, basketball is a tricky situation.
Right.
Because the thing is that with basketball, you can pursue the career, but God forbid something happened to you to the point where you're going to be out for months and you ain't got no way to provide for you, take care of you and everything like that, because you got to do all of this stuff, plus medical bills and all that, just in case, like, God forbid, you got to get surgery or something, like on your knee, on your ankle or something like that, you tore your ACL, whatever it is. Basketball is tricky because that's just like you can get injured instantly and just be out for like months or even the season, and then you ain't got no way to like take care of yourself.
Right.
But with baking, like, yes, like maybe you want to start a business and God forbid it doesn't work out or anything like that. I mean, you still got a little side hustle. You still got something that'll support you if somebody wants something from you or anything like that. Like, so honestly, I would choose baking over basketball. I love basketball, but the thing is that baking has always been my passion. So I would definitely choose baking over basketball, even though I grew up with basketball.
Okay. So I asked that because in life we have a lot of trials and tribulations, a lot of downfalls, a lot of things that's a detriment to either ourselves or our family or whatever. So when I thought about this topic, I was like, it'd be very hard to choose one thing over everything, right? Because if you change one thing, like in the back of my mind, I'd be like, yeah, it's a million other things that I could possibly choose that I would have changed, right? So that's why I asked you that, because it's a lot of things in life that the average person would want to change.
There's a lot. There's a lot. But like my past situations, like whatever it was, like if I went through something or I had a bad relationship or anything like that, I wouldn't change that.
Right.
Because if I would try to change that, like where would I be to like that day? I would never change that because that changed me to be the person that I am today.
Interesting.
Like I don't deal with, like back then I would deal with nonsense, BS, just settling, just not giving a care in the world about what's happening, not caring how people treated me or anything like that. But at this point in my life, I'm at the point where I don't give a crap how you feel about me. I don't care if I'm not somebody that you want to be with or anything like that. Like that don't faze me no more. Like
Right.
I'm not about to try to force myself, be like, oh, let's try to work it out. Let's do this, let's do that. Like I'm not about to do that. If you don't want me, you don't want me.
Right.
Like that, it is what it is. And the same thing with just life in general. Like all the mistakes that I've done in life, I would never want to change because I wouldn't be the girl that I am today.
Mm. That's interesting because in this topic, I was going to unpack a lot, right? And you kind of you're going in the direction that I'm eventually going to get to, right? So that's what's interesting about this topic, right? Uh, because you get there before I even ask the questions. So,
Mm-hmm.
but so if you could turn back the clock and change that one thing, what makes you certain it would be better? Um, it will better your life or your current situations. Like if you went back and changed that, how could you be certain that will make it better today? Right? Because if you go back in the past and change something,
Mm-hmm.
changing your past, you changing your future, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how can you be certain that by making that change, it'll be better for you now?
Well, the only thing that I probably would change is the baking situation, because in the past I did try to go to schools. I did try to do what I needed to do for that,
Mm-hmm.
but at some point it wasn't working out at the time. So it's like if it didn't work out for me, I just give up. I just leave
Mm.
it alone and not deal with it. I'm like, all right, whatever. I'll just try another time. Like obviously it's not going to be right now, but I'll just try another time. But the problem was is that with me waiting and waiting and waiting, I am where I'm at right now, where I
Right.
honestly don't want to be, but this is where I'm at.
Right.
This is how it has to be
Right.
until I finally like put my foot down and be like, this is what I want.
Right.
So back then, I honestly just didn't care. I didn't care. I just gave up. I'm like, you know what? Whatever. If it's not going to work, it's not going to work.
Right. And that's growth. So that's good. To acknowledge the fact that you gave up, right? And
Mm-hmm.
to know where you want to be and that drive, that whatever it is that motivates you to keep pushing, that's key to life. That's important. So I commend you for that. But as you were saying,
It's just now, like, I finally put my foot down and then I went to Escoffier. But like I told you, financial situations, I couldn't afford the last couple classes.
right,
So at that point, I just had to put it on pause
right,
because right now I can't afford it.
right,
Come on, like I can barely afford myself right now,
right,
and it's just like at sometime in the future when I get myself settled to where I need to be, then I will continue to pursue my career. That
right,
is my career. My career is wanting to be a pastry chef. But as of right now, I got to get myself financially stable in order for me to do that.
right. And it's hard. I know. I remember years ago. I believe 2010. I decided to do like college, right?
Mm-hmm.
My brother at the time, my younger brother, he was in the military, and one day he called me and said, "Hey, are you still interested in going to college and pursuing something like a career?" I said, "Yeah, absolutely." He said, "So if you're serious, I'll pay for it." So I'm like, "All right, cool, that's dope." So I enrolled, and I was doing it. Like 6 months later, they called me and was like, we didn't get any payment. I hit my brother up. He was like, "Bro, I can't afford it." I'm like, "Oh man." So when they came to collect from me, I said, "Listen, I can't afford it." So when you say that, I can relate. And that actually bothered me, right? But then I had to sit there and say, well, I wasn't doing it on my own, right? I
Mm-hmm.
was depending on somebody else to put me through school. So I had to
Yeah.
come to the realization that I can't be mad. I can't be upset.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, it is what it is. Um, so that was that. So when you say it's hard, like life is hard right now, and then we about to come up with um the presidential thing, and it's a scary thing because
I'm not even trying to get into that.
that's crazy. But just thinking about it, and they talk about schools, and they say whatever they need to
But it
get it.
never happens.
Absolutely right. And it's crazy because like when Biden was like, "We're gonna do this free tuition, free this, free that," I was like, "That's great. Maybe I can go back to school." But then
If only.
everybody tried, and then they was like, "Bro, what?" I can't. Why can't I? So then Biden came back and was like, oh, only a select few. So I'm like, oh well, I'm not even gonna pursue it because a select few, probably 1 in a million. So that's that. So like I said, I'm still in the restaurant industry, and one of these days, I will be up and running with the food truck. And I got a lot of plans, man. Like I definitely got to put out some tasters to people so people can see my work, taste it. You know what I'm saying, and spread the word. So. Have you ever heard of the ripple effect?
I have heard of a ripple effect.
Okay, so how do you define the ripple effect as it pertains to life?
That's a very interesting question.
Let's talk about it. I like interesting things, you know what I mean? Like
because the issue with that is that I don't know. I feel like a ripple effect is just like starting over type of thing. Like you can, like ripple effect is just like I don't even know how to say it. It's like a continuance, I would say.
Right.
It's like continuous. So it's like you trying to do what you need to do for you, like with your future and everything, because you're trying to, like, if you're wishing, like, you want something that you can change from the past. So it's like a ripple effect. So you're trying to continue to do what you're trying to do for yourself, but for some odd reason, it's just like you keep trying to do it, but it keeps coming back to you. You know what I mean?
I got you.
Like it's not working out.
All right. So let me go a little deep real quick. So the ripple effect is the continuing and spreading results of an event or an action. It is an abstract metaphor to describe how our actions or our non-actions echo throughout the physical and social world. It is the major consequences of minor actions. So as I read that, what are your thoughts on that? Like, what is your take? Okay. So the way that I interpret that is the minor actions is that one change that we decide to go back in time and change, right? And the major consequences are all it's the ripples that create multiple changes that follow that one change, right? So, like, for instance, let's say we had a brother or something, or a sister or a friend that passed away in the past. Now, say if a person say, "Oh, if I could change one thing, I'll go back in time and I won't allow them to drive knowing they was intoxicated. I'll tell them, oh, it's better."
But see, that's just like when I told my friend in the past. Well, my ex-girlfriend at the time, she lost her mom to a drunk driver. Her mom and her aunt.
Right.
So it's just like the same thing she said. She was like, if I could have just called my mom, like a few minutes before she was about to get in the car, or this, that, and the third.
Right.
Same thing I would tell her, like, it regardless of what you can try to do, that impact will never change.
Right.
It will still happen regardless, even if you don't want it to.
Right.
You can call your mom and talk to her, but your mom can be out the door. Your mom could be walking out the door at the time, getting in her car to go do what she got to do with her sister.
Right.
And the impact will still happen. And you know what I mean? So it's like, you can try to change it, but it won't change.
Right. Well, it'll change.
Some people might disagree with that.
Right.
Not gonna lie, some people might disagree with it, but if that situation happened, it's like, no matter what you do, how I feel, right. No matter what you do, that situation will never change, because it's still going to happen regardless on how people are trying to think in their minds, like how they're going to try to fix it.
Right. Well, so I look at it like this, like it's like that one thing may change, right? But it's going to alter everything else, right? Like, I don't believe we ever going to see a time where a scientist or somebody is able to go back in time. But if it was to happen, like, the whole concept of the ripple effect some people call it the chaos theory. It's intriguing, right? If you ever do research on it, you read it, it's very interesting, right? So like when you drop a pebble in a pond, right, it creates a series of ripples and it spreads out from the center, right? And it affecting the surface of the water in increasingly wider circles, right? So let's look at it this way. That still water, right, is our original timeline. It's smooth, it's calm, it's quiet, and it's undisturbed, right? So once you drop that single object into it or skip a rock and all the ripples that occur, that object or that rock becomes that change that we decide to make, that go back in time and make, right? So from that, numerous ripples occur, right? And that's the changes, right? That stems from that one change. So what I'm saying is, if you go back in time and change one negative and turn it to a positive from your past, just that one change will make one positive. It might turn if you change one negative in your past, right, into a positive, one positive could turn into 30 negatives. You know what I'm trying to say? Like,
yeah, I understand. So, I would say like if you go into the past and try to change one negative to a positive, I feel like you changing that negative into a positive, fast forward to the future, you can have a whole bunch of negatives from that positive.
And that's what I was trying to say. So, changing one thing can alter. It could be a lot of things that you cherish or loved about life that may change because you changed that one thing. It's disturbing the way of life. It's disturbing our original timeline.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, so following what I just said, right? Let me ask you this again. So given the ability to go back in time to change that one thing, right? Would you take that risk of still changing it? Or does this all give you a different outlook? You would still change something?
No, I won't change anything.
Oh, so you changing your mind. So before you said it was two things that you would change. So you say like now.
Yeah, there's two things I would change. Yeah, there would be. But my thing is that I get where you're coming from now. I get where you come from now with that question.
Right.
Like my thing is that yes, I would want to change that, but in the back of my mind too, I'm like, if I was to change either one of those, like, what will my future be like? Like, I would be scared because I'd be like, damn, I changed this, but like now I have a whole lot of differences of my future, and now I don't know what to do about it.
Right. Because because everything we go through in life, it shapes us. It makes us who we are. So going back in time to change something, right? Now you altering the timeline, and that who knows? Like if you said the baking thing, maybe if you would have pursued that more early on, right? Maybe you would be a baker. Maybe like a month in, somebody would have robbed you. You might have passed away, something like that. So that's why it's crazy to me. Like, a lot of people say they would change things, and I honestly wouldn't change anything because I know my past made me the person I am now. If I go back and change something, I feel like I'm a strong individual, a strong black man. So if I went back and I changed something, who knows? Maybe I'll be soft.
It could change you. It could change you into a complete asshole. Like it could just change you into somebody who you don't want to be. And you'd be like, oh, nah, like, what did I just do to myself?
Right. Like, you got to go through the fire to be strong, right? So by changing stuff, like, I don't know, maybe I wouldn't have never went through that fire, and maybe I wouldn't know how to overcome adversity. And maybe I would be locked up now. And right now, in my future, in the present day, I love my life. I got kids. I got 4 kids. I'm working, and I feel like I'm successful. Right. A lot of people look at success differently. But for me, as long as you wake up every day, you motivated, you driven, you go to work, you provide for yourself and your family, your kids, whatever, and you don't stray from that, I feel like that's a success. You know what I'm saying? You all right? So for me,
I'm good.
So for me, I don't think I would change anything, man, because everything in my life made me who I am now, and I wouldn't want to be nobody else. I love the person I am.
I mean, I would. I mean, as much as I would, like, I did say I wanted to change to pursue my baking career.
Right.
But getting deeper into the conversation, that's just like saying like where would I be today?
Right.
Like would I meet like would I be me? Would I be who I am, who don't take no mess from nobody anymore? Who
Right.
don't just give in to other things, you know what I mean? So
Right.
like as much as I would want to go back and change my baking career,
Right.
at some point I'm just like, yeah, nah.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm good where I'm at. Like I'll just keep doing what I got to do for myself.
Right. And that's what's tricky about life, because sure, we all have a lot of things in life that we wish wasn't there, blemishes or whatever, or you know, family that passed, or friends that passed, or friends that
Mhm.
we lost, or whatever the case may be. It's a lot of things in everybody's life, and let's just say it wasn't a such thing as a ripple effect when we could change something, and our outside of that, our present would still be the present, right?
Mhm.
Um, that's the thing. I still don't know that I would change something, right? Because it's thousands of things in my life that I would want changed. So let's say I made one change, and then we fast forward back to present day. I'm going to sit there and say, "Dang, I made that change, right?" And dang, what about this? Or did I make the right decision? Should I have chose this instead of this, right? And then that's going to lead to confusion and chaos for me. So it's too many things for me to sit there and narrow down one
Yeah,
thing.
but see, yeah, but you got to think about it too. Like, if you was to try to change something in your past, like
Mm-hmm.
the question is like, where would your kids be?
That's true, because maybe I
Where
wouldn't
would
have my
your
kids.
where? Yeah, where would your shorty be? You know what
Right.
I mean?
Yeah,
So
that's
that's just like it's the same thing with me. Like, where would my girl be if I was to change my future?
right.
Like,
Yeah,
she's my person and I'm her person. So
right.
so it's like, would I really want to go through that type of heartbreak to change my future? Or
Right.
would I just keep it where I'm at, where I got mostly almost everything that I've ever wanted in my life?
Mm. That's powerful right there. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, it's very interesting. It's very tricky, right? So, all right, I got another interesting question, right? I was talking to one of my friends, and we was going back and forth with ideas and questions, right? So, this question actually came from him, and I thought it was so powerful. I had to add it, right? So, he said, knowing changing one event or thing in our past could completely change where our life would be now in the present. Does that mean that we aren't truly happy now in the present? Did you
Hold
understand?
on. Say that again. Say that
Oh,
again.
okay. Knowing that changing one event or thing in our past could completely change where our life is today, meaning like present, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean that we aren't happy where we are now? Like, so the change.
That's actually a tricky question.
Yeah.
That is definitely a tricky question because the thing is that some people are happy where they're at right now. They're happy with their life. They're happy with what they're doing in their lives and everything like that. But then you got the people on the other side who are not happy on how their life is going or how they're feeling or anything like that.
Right.
So I would say for me, like no matter what I went through in my past, as much as I would want to change it, I don't want to change it
Right.
because my thing is that my past, like I said in the beginning, my past has made me who I am.
Right.
They've made me the one who will stand on 2 feet and not take any BS from nobody anymore.
Right.
I'm the person that me like if I'm hanging out with my friends and they bring somebody around, if I don't like your vibe, then I don't want to deal with you. And for some odd reason, my tuition is always right because my friends will tell me things and they'd be like, yeah, you were right about her. Like, yeah, nah. And I'm like, hey, I'm just like, like, yeah, nah, I'm not messing with her or I'm not messing with him.
Right.
But my thing is that right now, like, I wouldn't. I'm
Yeah.
happy where I'm at. I'm happy where I'm at right now. I mean, it might be hard times for me right now.
Right.
I mean, struggling a little bit, but I am very happy where I am right now. I would not want to change it because I wouldn't want to be miserable at all. Like, I've been in that deep depression and it is not fun. I have a lot of regrets for me being in that depression.
Right.
Like, my depression was bad. The fact of the matter of me going through a heartbreak, plus on top of that too, in the middle of COVID.
Right.
Then ignoring my family and friends, all of this stuff. Like, sometimes I regret it all the time. Like even that, like, I'd be just like be wishing, like, I just wish I can go back in time and just, because my grandmother, the way my grandmother was set up, she'd call us every day, all of her grandchildren. If we didn't answer, she'd leave a message. And throughout my time of my depression, like, I regret every time I didn't answer her.
Right.
Because months later, I lost my grandmother.
Right.
I didn't get to talk to her the way I wanted to. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then on top of that too, I had to take care of her on her last days.
Right.
Before she went into the hospital.
I know that had to be tough. I couldn't imagine. You know, I hate funerals. I hate death, and I think we as people, I think we never want to lose our mothers, our fathers, our family, our brothers, our spouses, girlfriends, whatever, right?
No,
But
it's
we
hard.
also, but we know it's the inevitable, right? But it's one of the hardest pills to swallow, just knowing that that day is going to come.
It is, because it definitely is, because it depends on, the thing is, for me, it depends on, like, even with my family, it depends on, like, who helped raise you. Who helped raise you? Who helped to take care of you when your parents weren't there, when they had to do double shifts or something like that? My grandmother and my grandfather, they were my second mother and father.
Interesting.
Like, my grandmother even called me, my brother, and my sister, all my mom's kids. My mom only had 3 kids, me, my brother, and my sister. She called all of us her children.
Right.
Because we were there from her since day one.
Right.
She helped take care of us with my mom when my mom had to go to work and everything like that, even to the point where me and my mom and my sister, we had to move in with my grandmother to help her with her bills.
Right.
So it's like my grandparents were my second parents. And I literally took care of both of them till the day they died. So it's just like, that's a lot of things. Like, as much as I would want my grandparents back or anything like that, I would never want to go in the past to try to bring them back to life.
Right. You know,
like,
and go ahead.
Like, you know how some people be like, oh, I wish I could just go back in time and just have one more time with them and everything like that. No, I don't want that. Right. I don't want one more time with them. I had all my time with them. Right. They had their time here. They enjoyed their lives. Now they're together in heaven, enjoying their lives.
Right. And that's why it's also important to give people their flowers while they're still on this earth. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So as long as you go out there, you spend that time and you devote it and you care for people, right? Like, when they pass, it's easier for you to be at peace with it, you know? So you don't have to go back in time and want to change that, because guess what? Let's say you went back in time for that one more day. Now you fast forward back to the present day,
and then you're going through that heartbreak all over again,
because eventually it's going to pass, because nobody lives forever. And then also, as we was discussed, like, going back in the past for that one more day could alter your whole timeline. You can go back and get that one more day with them, like, as you wished, right? And then you could pass the next day. It could be a drive-by or something like that. And you pass, you know what I'm saying? Then this life that you live in now, in the present day, you wouldn't be able to enjoy it, right? So that's what I say. I 1,000% wouldn't change nothing in my life. And don't get me wrong, it's a lot of things that I regret, but regret and changing things are two different things. It's a lot of things that I wish wasn't in my life, but people, places, and things shape you and mold you to who you are as a person. You know what I'm saying? It's what makes you strong. Like, when you was talking about depression, right? If it wasn't for that depression, would you be as strong as you are now? Like just knowing how to overcome it, you know?
Yeah, so, no, I wouldn't.
So that's the difference between giving up and keep pushing, right? You have the keys to success. You know how to get yourself out that hole, and that's important, right? So that's what makes you strong.
Honestly, I'll be real with you. I ain't get myself out that hole. I really didn't. I didn't get myself at that hole. Like,
right now, you feel like that right now?
I've always felt like that. I've always felt like I didn't get myself out. Other people helped me get out.
Okay.
That's the thing. I wouldn't talk to family, like, no family. I wouldn't talk to friends. Me and my sister were living together, and I would not talk to her at all. She would try to come in my room and talk to me. I would like give her one word answers, and that was it. And I waited for her to walk out.
Okay.
Like, it was a lot when I was in my depression. I was in my depression for a while because of me going through heartbreak. But on top of that too, I was sick, but I didn't know how badly I was sick.
Right.
So the problem is that me being nauseous every day, constantly throwing up, all of this stuff, and then me going through my heartbreak with somebody who I thought was going to be the one, which was not the one. It was a lot, and it was taking a toll on me.
Right.
I didn't bring myself out. Honestly, my two best friends brought me out to the point where they were calling me and texting me, and I was ignoring them. And then once I hit them up and was like, "Hey, I'm okay," they cursed me out to the max. When I mean they cursed me out to the max. It was like, "You better not do this ever again. If you do this again, I'm about to come up to your house and I'm gonna knock you out one good time." So at that point, I was like, "Yo, I'm so sorry. I'm just going through stuff." So then after that, once my friends brought me out, then that's when I started constantly hitting up my family, my friends, and everything like that. Like, my friends was ready to beat me down because I wasn't talking to them for months at a time.
Right.
And we was talking weekly.
Right.
Like, they was playing no games. Like, they was ready to knock me out, put a 2-piece to me and everything.
I ain't heard that in a while. But you know what? So I like to unpack a lot of things. I like to get deep, right? So when I say, or the way I feel like you essentially did get out of that, right? Because everything in life begins with self. Can you hear me? Look like technical difficulties. Hold on, let me see if I can get it back on. Sorry about this, guys. 1 minute while I try to get it back. Let me send another invite. All right. While I wait for her to return. Yeah, this is a topic, I discussed with a couple of people. I thought it was very interesting, man. A lot of people tend to choose a lot of things in their life. They say, yeah, I would change this, right? But like I was saying, the ripple effect, you could also tie in the butterfly effect, how just the smallest thing can make a big impact in life, right? Like, so changing one thing could ruin your whole life as we know it today, So it's like, do you take that risk and say, maybe those positives in my life that turn into negatives, maybe it wouldn't be that bad, You could look at it that way, or you could be scared and like, nah, I'd rather take my chances and just keep things the way it is, So like I said, it's a lot of things about my life that if it wasn't no consequences, if I can keep my present day, then sure, I would change it, right? But that's like in a perfect world, and we don't live in a perfect world. So yeah, like I wish I spent more time with my family. I was there for them more. I listened more. Like I said, it goes on and on. Like in school, if I wasn't getting in fights every day, just apply myself more. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of things that could be changed, but ultimately, like I said, life is about growth and just that knowledge of knowing that. Hold on, I think she's coming back. Hold on a second, add her in.
I'm so sorry.
It is all good. I was rocking solo for a minute. Oh, you lost connection or something?
Yeah, my cousin. I got my cousin's computer because I don't carry computers, so I use my phone for everything.
Oh, what did y'all say?
But
That's outdated. You call me old?
no, it's not that. I just don't have a computer, but I'm using my cousin's, and she told me it was fully charged, and
Oh,
it was not fully charged. So had to like run in her room real quick to go get her charger.
oh, okay. Yeah, I was talking. I
But
see you.
my apologies. I'm sorry.
It is all good. So what? I don't remember if I was speaking or you were speaking.
You were speaking.
You remember
You
about
were
what?
speaking.
You remember about what?
Um, I think the last thing I talked about was like with my friends not my friends getting in my ass about not hitting them
Oh,
up when I was in my depression.
yeah, you're right. You're right. Because yeah, yeah, and that's what I was saying. So when I was like, you got yourself out, and you say you don't think you got yourself out that hole, right?
I
The reason why,
didn't. My friends did.
but listen, the reason why I said I think that you did because everything in life begins with self, right? Do you agree with that or no?
Yeah.
Okay, so if it start with self, if you said eventually you said your friends kept hitting you up and you ignored them, but one day something in your mind said, you know what? Let me respond, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
eventually responded to your friends and you let them in. You eventually let your family back in, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, in essence, you got yourself out that hole, right? It's something inside of you that allowed you to allow people to help you, because people can't help you if you don't want to be saved. You agree with that or no?
Absolutely.
So okay. So if you agree with that, give yourself more credit and say you got yourself out that hole. You are a strong black individual. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
never lose sight of that. Every day, just know that you're strong. You got yourself out of the worst times in your life, and as long as you continue to do that, you can't be defeated. Right? The only defeat in life is will be past. And some people might beg to differ. If you had a good life
That's
and you
not
passed,
honestly. I don't think that's a defeat. That's a
wait,
victory. Only because the way I was raised, like my grandparents were like my family, bona fide Christians. Like you already knew that. You knew my family was like they was God all the way.
right,
Christians all the way. And you already know who and you already knew how my grandmother was. Like you
right,
knew how she was. So it's like she would I'm sorry. Oh no, that's the wrong person. She she would just pretty much my grandmother would instill in us like who we are and what who is God and all that stuff. So my grandmother like literally drilled in like to my whole entire family, like who God is, what the Bible is like. But at some point in time when I grew up, I left the church.
mm,
It was just a lot of judgmental stuff that was going on. And then my thing is that if you accept your congregation, then there's no reason for you to judge them.
right,
So as I got older to the point where I was able not to go to church anymore because my mom and my grandmother was not having it for me to stay home.
right,
I I eventually left. I went to a new church, but I left them as well because it was just judgmental. Like for instance, I like girls. So the thing was is that okay, so the fact that I'm a lesbian, you don't want me in your church. You want to quote the Bible to me about homosexuals and all this stuff. Like I ain't got time for that. Like I am who I am. God loves me for me.
mm,
That's how I was raised. I was raised to learn that God loves me for who I am, no matter what my decisions are, no matter what my mistakes are.
right,
So that's why I just be like, yeah, nah. I just go do what I gotta do.
right. So this kind of left field a little bit, but so do you still believe in the church or no?
No,
You believe in a higher power, like a
I
higher
do.
being. Okay, and that's kind of where I stand. Like I tell people all the time I'm not religious, but I do believe in a higher being, right? Because it's at the end of the day, it has to be a higher being, a higher power. Because if it wasn't for a higher power, or higher being, right? How will people be alive? And the trees, the birds, the animals. So that's one thing that nobody in this world can explain. The only thing they know how to do is go the easy route and say it's because of God. Mm-hmm. But I do not believe in the Bible or none of that stuff. And like I said, that's a different topic.
I know. I'll be honest with you. I kind of gave up on that stuff as I got older.
Right, and that's another thing too. I tell people, like, when you grow up and your family go to church, they force it on their kids, right? And you can't force religion on somebody. Religion has to be something that you embrace on your own, right? And a lot of people don't get that. A lot of people like to argue you down and say, "Oh, you wrong," and this is that. The one thing people say, and I can't stand, is they talk about the Bible. That says that's facts. You know what a fact is, right? You know what a fact is, right? Something that you can prove, right? If nobody that you speak to that talk about the church, if none of them lived when God was living, right, or spoke to him or broke bread with him, or never seen him, how could they say something is fact? They can't. It's not possible. Mm-hmm. Because you can't prove it. To be factual, you have to be able to prove it. So it's a gray area, but it's a lot of gray areas in life, like religion, politics. There's a lot of things, but.
Absolutely.
As people, we got to stop saying facts when you talk about religion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with that.
Yeah. So, all right. So
what's the next question you got for me?
The next question? I mean, we basically jumped on everything, to be honest. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because, like, when I asked you, I didn't know that you would change things originally.
Like, what do you mean would change things originally?
Because remember, I said if you can go back and change one thing, you said you're baking in the basketball, right? And then as we continue to speak, and I broke things down for you a little bit, you was like, after hearing that, I wouldn't change it. But it's funny because
like as much as I would want to change it, as much as I would want to change my baking career, like basketball, I honestly at this point, like I didn't give up on it. But it's not something that I would want to constantly pursue.
Right.
Like I still love basketball. Basketball is always going to be my sport.
Now this is a random question, but I got to ask you. So was part of basketball, your passion for basketball, was it the game? Was it the sport, or was it the idea of playing with girls? Since you were attracted to girls,
it wasn't the idea of playing with girls. My family is a sports team.
Right.
My family, they all were in sports. My uncles were in basketball. My uncles were in football. I had my mom in track. Like, my family is just a sports family.
Okay.
So my uncles, all three of my uncles, pretty much taught me how to play ball. And then from the time I was a little girl, like I didn't play no leagues when I was little and everything. I played a couple games in elementary school, and then middle school I really didn't play because I didn't make the team. But then I did high school and I did a little bit of college.
Right.
But no, basketball, I just loved doing basketball. It was a good thing for me. Like right. I did summer programs and all of that stuff. It wasn't because of the girls. That's an absolute no.
No, I just had to ask that because
No, I understand. I know some people only want to go in there because they see girls jumping and all that stuff, and they can see whatever they want to see.
No, I would say that because you was like that you was bi-curious, but you didn't want to put that out there. So I was like, it
wasn't nothing like that. I just love the sport.
Okay, that
was my thing. But my thing is that after a while, like after I did all of that, like even when I was doing college ball and everything, like I did college ball, but I was so focused on baking. Baking was my thing. Like, because it's something that I taught myself. It was a self-taught thing. Like my behind would go on YouTube and like learn how to make things, learn how to decorate the right way, learn how to pipe the right way. Like all of that. I taught myself everything, like literally everything, just about everything. There's still things that I still need to learn.
Right.
Like how to make like how people make like fondant figures and everything and isomold and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's crazy. That takes talent. It's crazy. At my job, we have a thing called a wine dinner, right? And So it's like the prices vary. So it's like what it's supposed to be once a month, but like and with inflation, we've been doing twice a month, sometimes 4 month.
Mm-hmm.
So it might like whoever can sign up for it, right? And I just go in the back and I prep for it. I prep for it, right? And then the day of, like just yesterday, we had a wine dinner, and it's I just got to make these dishes. It's a 4-course meal, right? With it's a I don't want to call it appetizer because appetizer. Then it's like in between. Then it's the main course, and then it's dessert. Now it looks good, right? It do look good, but like for me, the prices be crazy. Like it'd be like $60, sometimes $75 per person. But we got a lot of people that's loyal and they show up, and I enjoy doing it. I go back there, like we talk about baking. I was baking, and I'm not no baker. I know how to cook, so I'm baking, and my boss came to me. He said, "Ew." He's like, "Yo, that's ugly." He's like, "Moving forward, we got to work on that." And I'm like, "Listen, I know how to cook. I don't know how to bake." I try to put the little designs, trying to pipe it, and it'd be ugly. But you know what? The guests they eat it, and we eat with our eyes, right? So like, I'm thankful that like they didn't ask for refunds and they ain't cause no
They don't pay
chaos.
attention. They don't pay attention to the decoration. They just pay attention to what you make.
So that's the thing. I wonder if it's that or because, like I said, it's a 4-course thing. So like they start off with a drink, like a wine, right? A little sample, like something like about this much. They drink that and then they roll out the first course. Then they sip a different wine. Then the second course and so on and so forth. So that's how it works. I have pictures. I'm definitely going to start posting those pictures. But
yeah, that's what you need to do too. You need to get like an Instagram or something. Like make yourself another Instagram.
Yeah.
And
but
promote your stuff.
So somebody told me, they was like, "Hey, since that's your weakness, right? Baking. What do you think about baking?" And I hate to say it, but like I feel like it's weird as a man. I'm like, baking is a woman thing, but it's a lot of men that's established, like the Gordon Ramsays in the world that bake, and it's crazy. Like I love cooking so much that like I follow a whole bunch of cooking shows, like the Cooking Network. Like one of my favorite ones is Gordon Ramsay's Master Chef. I love that show. I love Chopped. I love Grocery Games. It's so interesting to me. Like I really like live food and cooking. Like I love it. It's a passion. So I definitely one of these days I got to start trying to work on like baking and mastering that craft. Because like my older brother, he's a chef as well, and he said to be a true chef, you have to know all aspects of cooking, baking, everything. And I told him he didn't know what he's talking about. But as I told that to other people, you know what? They agree with him. They was like, he's telling the truth. Like they was like to be a great basketball.
If you're gonna be in a culinary career, then you got to learn the baking skills as well.
Right.
Like me, I choose not to do the culinary part.
Right.
Like I know how to cook, not professionally, but I do know how to cook. I do know how to throw down in the kitchen. But baking is my dominant.
Right. See, I'm definitely opposite. Like I said, so somebody broke it down to me like this. They was like, if you look at the game of basketball, since I like basketball, right? They say you can't be an all-around ball player if you only know one position. If you know how to shoot, but you don't play no defense, you're not an all-around ball player. So it took for people like that to break it down for me to have a different outlook. I'm like, you know what? They right. So that's why I say I gotta bake. Even alcohol. I gotta learn how to make drinks, because that's one thing. Man, at work, sometimes I'm without a bartender and people come in and I'll be like, I hope that nobody comes in and comes to that bar. They come to that bar, I'm lost. I'm like, oh my God, I'm texting people. How do you make this? How do you make that? And that's bad. Me being a manager. One day somebody was like, aren't you a manager? I'm like, yeah. You know how to make drinks? I'm like, well, no, I'm the kitchen manager. They were like, but you're a manager. You know how to make drinks? I'm like, dang. So that goes back to what I was saying. Like I definitely have to put myself in a position where I could be an all around chef, right? Because making drinks.
I can help you with the baking part.
We'll see.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how you sure they're gonna feel about that, but you know.
No, she good. she good.
But no, honestly, piping and everything is really not that difficult. Like all you really need to do is like what you make like a sponge cake, decorate a little bit.
But it's the decoration, and it's crazy. I could draw. I could put pen or pencil to pad. But now you try to decorate.
Not with buttercream.
No, because the thing is, ain't no eraser on a piping bag. Once you
No,
mess
it
up,
is. Like, no, it is. If you
you
feel like you messed up on a plate, all you got to do is wipe it off. It's buttercream.
what I'm saying, you can cover it up, but it's like now you actually
No,
adding
you
extra
can't cover. You
layers.
can't. You can't cover buttercream up. That's not gonna happen.
Yeah,
If you make a mistake with buttercream, you're gonna have to wipe it off and restart again.
but that's the thing, and then time is money. Like, right? Say if I was doing catering, I messed up. I ain't got time to be starting over. That time is of the essence. I got to get this right. So with saying that, like that's why you got to practice. You got to be a master at your craft. You know what I'm saying?
Look,
So
it's called YouTube. They teach you everything.
that's true. I've learned a lot on like
That's where I learned how to do my baking skills, my
right.
fondant, my buttercream, my piping, all of that.
Like I said, I'm gonna check you out on your Instagram. I'm gonna see your work, and then I gotta taste it. Just like I said, I gotta put tasters out there. You got to do the same, and that's how you get a following. You know what I'm saying? People be like, "Oh, Ayanna know what she's doing."
After all these years of us knowing each other, you have never had my baking.
Yeah, that's true. It was always, I don't know, like some of the times I felt like,
but I've never had your cooking either.
that is true. That is true. But you know, it was difficult back in the day with them times. Me being in a relationship, I'm gonna say, what am I gonna say? I'm gonna cook for you, and no, it was a lot of times
as a friend. Yes, absolutely.
But a lot of times you're right. But a lot of times we hung out. It was based off of either I was single in the moment or I was stressed out in my relationship and I consulted with you. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was venting to you. Because that's one thing about you. You always been that ear.
That's what
and
best
that shoulder. You're right. But that's what I'm saying. Even back then, I was like, dang, I gotta find somebody else to vent to because I don't want her to feel like this is it. This is all it is.
I never felt like that.
No, I'm saying that's how I feel. So that's
I know,
part of it.
but what I'm telling you is I never felt like that. You can't judge a book by its cover.
You're right.
You already know that saying. So the fact of the matter is that's who I am. That's the type of friend I am.
Right.
Like I really don't have issues, and if I do have issues, I normally just keep it to myself. Because one thing is that yes, I would want your opinion, but the fact of the matter is that you're going through things. So I'd rather be your diary than to pour my feelings out to you.
I love that. I'm gonna use that. I love that. You said I'd rather be your diary. Oh my God, I'm about to start using that. Mentally, I'm gonna give you credit, but outwardly, I'm not gonna say they're gonna be like, you know, because just like I loved it when you said it, when I said it, people gonna be like, damn, this month. he good with his words.
I can't.
No, I'm serious. That's some dead ass shit, man.
But yeah, really, for real. I'd rather be my friend's diary than to let them know what I'm going through. Yes, they'll give me advice and everything, but most of my stuff is not severe as much as theirs is. Right. You know what I mean? Because
it's a two-way street.
Even between me and you. Like I was going through my single life. You were going through whatever you were going through, but the fact that matters is
a lot of ups and downs,
yeah, a lot of ups and downs. But the fact that it matters is that I was still your best friend. I was still there for you, no matter what you went through, and or no matter what I went through.
Right.
But at the time, like I really wasn't going through anything, so that's why I was there for you whenever you needed me.
Yeah, you. Hey, listen, not to pull all my business out there. I remember it was a time where I was in my car.
Yeah, we're not gonna do that.
Yeah, I was in my car though. I was gonna say this one thing. I was in my car, and I ain't even the one. I don't even think I was the one that told you. Maybe I was in the time of need. I don't know. But the way you got mad is the way you said your friends got mad at you when you shut them out. And I did. I said
you did the same exact thing to me, and I cursed you out.
That's what I'm saying. And I never understood it. I was like, why is she mad? She ain't going through this. And you was like, L, as long as I know you, this better not happen again. If you need somewhere to crash, just come over. And I did that for a period of time. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it meant the world. And the crazy thing is, I never acknowledged it. I never told you about it. I never thanked you to my knowledge. I don't think I ever thanked you for the things you did. You know what I'm saying?
I don't need to thank you. That's the thing. But like some people be like, oh, I don't get to thank you for helping you out. I don't get to thank you for this. I don't get to thank you for that. That's not who I am. My thing is that if you're my friend and we're this close and I'm trying to support you in whatever you're going through, I don't need to
Right.
thank you. I'm just
Right.
there. Just know that I'm there and I
And
got your back.
that's good, but it don't hurt to give that person that praise or that thank you. You know what I'm saying? Like me,
Oh, that's fine. I'll accept it, but
yeah,
I don't. That's just like that. I don't request it.
right,
I'll accept it, but I don't request it.
right.
That's
You
the
know,
thing.
it's the crazy thing. I'm the same way. Like I don't expect it. Do I want it? Yes, right. But I don't expect it because I feel like I've been a black sheep majority of my life. You know what I'm saying? Things like that, like or people don't want to deal with me for whatever reason, and I spent too
That's
much of
because
my young
that's because people don't understand you.
right.
Like they
Cool.
don't
That's
understand. They don't understand what you went through. They
right,
don't understand how you tried to handle it. That's just like
right,
with my brother. My brother, my brother calls himself the black sheep, which he's really not. But my brother calls himself the black sheep. But
right,
fact of the matter is that my brother has gone through a lot. Not on my mom's side, but on his dad's side. My
right,
brother has gone through a lot. And
right,
there's a lot of things that my brother don't express unless he really needs to express it.
right,
And the difference between my brothers, like if you need help, like y'all, both of y'all don't ask for help. But
right,
if I offer it to you, you'd be like, yeah, I'll take it. I'm good with that. I'm fine with that. My brother,
right.
he won't. Because
Mhm.
that's just the pride thing from my brother. My brother
And,
has a lot of pride in him.
well, see this thing, I got a lot of pride too, but like I said,
Yes, you do.
but it's people, places, and things, right? Like and it's trials and tribulations, and once you go through things in life, it's like sometimes you got to come to the realization that like having so much pride is detrimental to you, right? Like so that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
but
Like
see, that's the difference between you and my brother.
right.
At some
Well,
point, you realize that my brother, he won't. And
so that comes with
that's just who my brother is.
that just comes with growth. Then, like we all growing, right? So
Yeah.
that just tells me he still got some growing up to do,
Oh,
But
absolutely. My brother got 5 kids, and he's still going through shit.
he got 5 kids.
Yeah, my brother got
Damn,
5. He got 3 girls and 2 boys. My brother got 5 kids.
twins.
No,
Dang, he was just
no,
going
I
at it.
got what is it? Promise, Layla, Caden, Shay, and Rowan.
Mm,
So yeah.
that
So my brother's still going through stuff, but he's never going to express it.
right. I mean, and see, that's a detriment. That's one thing. Maybe you should try to tell them that counseling. A lot of people look at counseling as a weak thing, but
Yeah,
it's
he's
not.
not doing that.
Hey, but
Not at all.
sometimes they take the
The
right
thing is,
person to
my
say it.
brother's going through relationship issues. That's the problem. He's going
Mm,
through a relationship that he's been in for over 10 years.
mm,
Like since middle school. He's been dating this girl since middle school.
right.
My brother is about to be, how old am I? 34? My brother about to be 32 in August.
Mm.
And he's
And
still going through the mess.
the same relationship. You said 10 years, so
Same
from,
relationship.
from
They've been
22.
together for about they've been going together for about like 20 years or so.
So that
They've been
the person he's in a relationship with is how many kids they have together.
That's his one baby mama.
Oh,
5
so he got
kids
one.
together.
Oh, they might as well tie the knot.
No, he ain't gonna tie a knot. They don't need to be together.
Oh,
That's a
okay.
toxic relationship right there.
Toxic. Yeah.
Toxic.
Yeah.
Toxic.
So if it's toxic, you got to close the door on that. You
No,
can't
he
stay in
can't, but he's
something.
not gonna let it go, and she not gonna let it go. He can't date nobody, she can't date nobody. But they ain't none of
Yeah.
my
Oh,
business.
that's
I
super
stay in my
toxic.
place with that. Yeah.
Okay.
I stay in my
Well,
place.
well, the only thing you can do is just play your part. You know what I'm saying? And you can lead it. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink it, right? So that concept, goes a long way. You just keep doing what you're doing and keep being supportive and keep trying to encourage him to do better and to grow. And
Well, you can do
eventually it'll come.
you can do all you can do. Until they're ready to change,
Right.
there's only so much you can do.
Right. Right. I got
But
you.
back to us though.
Yeah. So all right. So I'm gonna wrap this one up. I'll have you on other episodes, and I'll definitely stay in touch a little bit better than I have. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's been
So
about maybe like 6 years I haven't talked to you.
I know, and that's bad. That's what I said. I definitely will work on that.
Nah,
And then
you good though.
in the other episodes, whether I'm on episode with somebody else, if you want to jump in on the conversation, you just let me know and I'll plug you in. And it could be like 3 people, 4 people, whatever the case may be. Right. So, to all my listeners out there, if you enjoyed what you heard, what you've seen today, make sure you tune in to next week's episode. Like, share, comment, subscribe. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you for being my guest today. All right.
Deuces.
All right. Be safe.